Hey everyone. So today, what I'm going to be covering are sales metrics. Okay. Before making any strategic decision, before diagnosing any problem in your sales funnel, you have to look at the data. But what data should you look at? What does it all mean? How should you use that data to strategize and make different kind of decisions in your sales funnel? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'll be breaking it up into two different types of metrics. So I'm going to be covering top of the funnel metrics, and then we're going to go into in the funnel metrics, which takes the sale all the way to a close. So starting at the top of the funnel, your first metric is always an activity metric, and that is the work that's actually being done, the outreach that's actually being done. And so this is whether you're making cold calls, so it would be the number of dials. If you're doing LinkedIn outreach, it's the number of connection messages or connection requests that you're sending out. If you're doing emails, then it's the number of emails that you're sending out. So whether it's dials, connection messages, or emails sent, I'm going to cover each channel one by one. So let's talk about cold calling first. So your first activity metric, it's dials. So are you making enough dials in order to get you the results that you're looking for? An ideal amount is about 50 dials a day is what we would recommend. Anything less is not enough to really generate results. So depending on your target market, it could change, but 50 dials a day is what we would recommend. Then after that, how many people are actually picking up the phone? And a good benchmark, the industry average in terms of pickup rate is about 6%. So if you're getting about a 6%, 7% pickup rate or more, you're doing great. It means that the lead list that you have is good, the numbers are good, people are actually answering the phone. And it means your target market is good as well. After the pickups, the metric afterwards that we track is conversations. So a pickup is just anybody picking up the phone and taking a call with you. Whether they are the right person or not, it's just pickups. Are the phone numbers actually working? A conversation is when you make an introduction, you ask a question, and now you're entering a conversation with somebody. And what this tells you is a few things. If your conversation rate, and our benchmark is you should be having a conversation with half of the people that are picking up, so 50%. And if you're achieving that, what this tells you is you're speaking to the right people and your introduction in your cold calling script is good. It's working. So if you're able to achieve at least a 50% conversation rate, it means you're doing good. Your lead lists are good. And you're having some good conversations. Then finally, after conversations, how does that convert into meetings? And our benchmark is you should be converting 30% or 33%, 1/3 of your conversations into actual meetings booked. And so now what that's going to tell you, if you're not achieving that benchmark, what that tells you is, your ability to close, the presentation part of the script, the value that's actually being delivered on that conversation, the objection handling. There's so many things basically that can go into that, the tonality. And so a lot of work can be done on that presentation, and hopefully that is where your problem kind of lies if you are having issues. But sometimes people start working on the script when they're not even getting enough pickups, they're not even getting enough conversations. And so make sure to see where you're not meeting the benchmarks, and then make sure to hit that. So that's on the cold calling side. Dials 6-7%, pickups 6-7%, conversations 50%, and then meetings booked 30%, and try to do about 50 dials a day. Switching over to LinkedIn. It's similar. You send out connection requests to connect with somebody. That's kind of like your dials. So how many people are you reaching out in total? So let's say you send out 100 invites. Out of those, how many are actually connecting with you? That's your next metric. So that's the connect rate. We recommend you should be achieving a minimum of a 20% connect rate in order for you to see any results at the other end. And if it's not working, then you're looking at, okay, is my invite message good? Is who I'm targeting good? Is it all relevant? And how's my LinkedIn profile? Maybe sometimes people just don't want to connect with you because your LinkedIn profile doesn't look as professional, or you don't have a lot of connections, or you don't have a lot of common connections, things like that. So that's what your connect rate tells you. Beyond that, now the next step is, okay, I have a good connect rate. What is my response rate looking like? We set a benchmark that half of the people connecting with you should be responding to you, so 50% again. And what this tells you is if they're responding, it means they're actually reading the message or at least opening it up, right? Maybe they're not, maybe all the responses are no thanks, no thanks, no thanks, which is auto-generated by LinkedIn. And so that might mean that people are not reading your message, but at least they're opening the message and then responding to you. And then you have to dive deeper to see what kind of responses are you really getting to make a strategic decision about your script. Then out of that 50% of people that actually respond, 12.5% you should be booking into a meeting. And so that tells you that your message is crisp, it's relevant, it resonates, and people want to actually talk to you. And so find out again where your bottleneck is. Are you hitting the 20% connect rate, 50% response rate, and are you hitting the 12.5% meeting book rate? And make the adjustments as needed. And remember, LinkedIn does have restrictions. You can't send more than about 100 invites a week, and so so stay within that limit when it comes to the actual outreach itself. Lastly, when we're talking about emails, emails is how many emails are you sending? Out of those, how many are being opened? My recommendation for benchmark is achieve a 40% open rate minimum. Typically, if you are under 40% on open rate, it means your list is bad. It means it means that your list is bad, or it means that the deliverability, there's something wrong with it. The emails are not landing into the inbox. And so now you have to go into your DNS settings, and we can link to, some resources for that down below. But look at your email deliverability for your domain. Make sure your emails are not landing in spam. Achieve at least a 40% open rate. And then, our best performing campaigns have like 70% open rates because we're keeping the subject lines very, very simple. Open rates depend on subject line and the first line of the email, making sure that that's relevant. And then, of course, deliverability. Once your open rate is within that 40 to 70% range, you're doing good. Then you want to look at a response rate. Response rates overall for for email, you want to look at averaging about 10% of your overall number of emails, people that you're contacting. So 10% of the people should be getting back to you. Again, now what this means is your messaging relevant? Are they actually reading it? Are they spending the time to even respond to you? That's what it tells you, that it's worth their time to read it and they're opening the email. And it was relevant enough to respond, even if the response is not interested. And then lastly, from that, you want to go ahead and book meetings. And meeting book rates on email varies. It really depends on target market. Sometimes we find that there are certain target markets that are very tough to get meetings with on email. And there are other target markets that are just easier. So you have to kind of look at what is the benchmark for your industry in terms of meeting conversions from emails, and base it off of that. But if you can book a few meetings through email, then that's great as well. So again, look at where the bottleneck is and make the appropriate adjustments, whether it's to your list, to your deliverability, to your message, to your CTA, whatever the case might be. So these are top of the funnel metrics. I will be covering in the funnel metrics in another video, which will be coming up soon. So stay tuned. Thank you.